Hi, I'm Ryan Aber from the Oklahoman and NewsOK.com, joined by Edmond Memorial and Olympic hopeful swimmer Samantha Woodward. Samantha, thanks for joining us.
It's an honor to be here.
Well, let's start at the very beginning. A lot of people, because your mom was a swimmer, your dad was a OU football player, right? Would have assumed that you were sort of born in the water. Not the case so much, was it?
No, I didn't actually know my mom was a swimmer until I started swimming, but we had an indoor pool and my mom wanted to make sure I was safe, so she put me in swimming lessons and it just grew from there.
And tell us the story behind why you started taking swimming lessons.
Well, when I was younger, I accidentally fell in the pool and my mom had enough of that, so she wanted me to know how to swim so that wouldn't happen again.
And then how did you progress through swimming once you started with the lessons?
The next natural step was to go from lessons to the team, and I did, and I was doing like 5 other things at the same time, but gradually I just narrowed it down to the thing I loved the most, and that was it.
And what was it about swimming that made it your sport?
Gosh, I don't know. All my best friends were swimmers, and those were the people that I connected with the most, and I just had fun while I was there, and I just ended up being the thing I was best at too, which didn't hurt. So,
and it's turned out pretty well for you. Hold how many records at the state?
Oh God, I don't know. I think 5.
5. I think that is right. Maybe a couple more here in a couple weeks.
Hopefully.
Is that something you want to try to do to make yourself have an opportunity to set more records, or would you just rather go ahead and best the times that you've already got?
I think either situation is going to be fine. Wherever my team needs me for points is where I'm going to be. So.
And how does that work exactly? When will you know for sure which events you're going to swim, and how does that process go?
Well, generally Steve tells us a couple days before, although he's been holding back a little bit with me because he thinks I'm going to go tell everyone what I'm swimming, which probably isn't that far off the truth. So I probably won't know until a couple days before.
And you've been around the world literally for swimming. What's the experience that has really stood out to you the most?
The 2 international trips that I've taken have to be the standout moments of swimming, because it's just a completely different experience from anything I've ever had before. You're in your own social environment for a couple weeks at a time, and you're in an exotic place you've never been before with people you've just met that you form fast relationships with, and it's almost inexplicable how awesome it is.
And tell us a little bit about the experience in Brazil over the summer.
It was life-changing, I'd have to say. It was really eye-opening to go to a country that, a South American country that I'd never even considered going to before, and seeing the different culture. And the swimming part of it was really, really intense. They put a lot of time and effort into making those games like the Olympic Games. And so, the competition was just incredible, and we were all racing our hearts out all the time, and my teammates were amazing. I've never found a group of people that's bonded together so quickly or so well.
And what was it like swimming with some of those girls that I'm sure you've heard of and seen on television and things like that?
A couple of them were girls that I had idolized since I was little, and they were really down to earth. They were people that you could talk to and not feel like, oh my gosh, this person's incredible, I should be honored to be talking to them. They're just, people there that were like, hey, we're glad to be on the same team as you, which was great.
And what was it like when you finished the race that you won?
Our 400 free relay, we were up against the Brazilians, and they had some really fast girls going on the end. And I dove in second on our relay, and I was neck and neck with the girl, and I pulled a little bit ahead, and then our third swimmer dove in, and she was a little bit ahead, and their fastest swimmer was their last swimmer, and so was ours. And we were just cheering as hard as we could, trying to get her to win, and she did. She did an amazing job coming in and finishing strong.
And I'm sure the crowd was pretty pro-Brazilian down there.
They were. I think they actually booed us a couple times, but the people down there were really, really nice and hospitable, and they were definitely pro-Brazilian, though. Whenever a Brazilian won, you could probably hear the cheering for miles.
what was the best experience away from the pool for you down there?
I really bonded with a couple teammates that were my age. We ended up, we drove and we saw the Redeemer, which is a giant statue in outside of Rio, and it was a really touching experience. And I don't know if you've heard about it, but that and like the drive there and back, just being with your teammates and laughing and having fun was probably the thing.
You said the drive there and back?
Oh, yeah.
How far of a drive was it?
It took about 2 hours to get there. And we assumed it was going to take 2 hours to get back, but it took like 4 because we took the scenic route. But
on purpose or just
on accident?
Okay, just had to make sure.
Yeah.
And you've also got some pretty good experiences coming up. Here you have the state, obviously in a couple weeks, which is important.
It is.
But take us through after that. Your steps from then until the Olympic trials, and then hopefully from then until the Olympics.
Well, after state, I have a week off, and then our sectional meet is after that. And
that's in Missouri, is that right?
Yes, Columbia. And I'll keep training for a while. I've got a couple training camps to attend at Colorado Springs, and then I'm going down to train in Houston for a week. And
taking your spring break to do that, right?
Yes. But it'll be all right because I'll be with my friends, which is important to me. And then I've got 2 Grand Prix meets, which are kind of higher level competition. I have one at Stanford, California, and then one in Omaha 3 weeks before trials. And then I go into trials, and if I make the Olympic team, I'll go straight from there to a training camp in Asia. So it would be intense, but...
How important is that meet before the Olympic trials where you get to go up to Omaha and swim in that pool and hopefully get some experience that'll help you in the trials?
It'll be really important to get to know the pool and the atmosphere and just kind of see how I'm feeling racing and everything, and you know, just kind of shake out the nerves a little bit, which will be really important by then, because if I'm nervous now, I'm going to be like shaking by then. So it'll be a good step before.
And how much do you talk to other girls or other swimmers in general that have been through that experience, and do they sort of help you out, telling you what it's like and what to expect?
All the time, every day. I've talked to girls that have been Olympians and girls that have been to trials and not made it, you know, just to kind of get different viewpoints on how to deal with everything. And, you know, they just, basically what they've been telling me is it's God's plan, and if you make it, you know, that's great, but if you don't, then God has something else in store for you.
And you mentioned something about getting used to the pool up in Omaha. How different are different pools that you swim in, and what are some of the things that you've got to adjust depending on where you're at?
Pools can be very different. It's not something you would think about generally, but I mean, there are pools that you like better than others, and pools that for every person that are more comfortable for you. And it's just things like how the deck space is arranged, or how the bleachers are arranged, or how the lane ropes like feel the waves. It's a lot of technical little stuff. You just have to get an overall feel for things.
And you recently made a decision on your college, going to be going to Palo Alto, California.
That's right.
Out to Stanford.
Yep.
Tell us the reasoning behind that and why you chose Stanford.
You know, it really came down to Texas and Stanford, and, you know, they're both great schools, and I went and visited them both and loved the girls at both, loved the coaches at both. I mean, it just came down to, I felt like Stanford was the place I needed to be.
And you had some interesting experiences while making those visits. First of all, in Austin, your dad, obviously, like we said earlier, played football for OU, so I'm sure that was an interesting thing for him to go through, having you go down there.
It was an experience for him. We went to the Texas TCU game, and I walked up wearing my, you know, Texas garb and my Texas beads, and my dad goes, "Please tell me you have an OU shirt on under that." And I was like, "No." But, you know, I think my parents were behind me 100%, whatever decision I made, so it helped things a lot.
And then at Stanford, you had the fortune or misfortune, depending on how you read it, of being there the weekend that they were able to upset USC in football.
Oh, The campus exploded. Like, literally, there were people running around in the streets, like, screaming. There were parties everywhere, just people going crazy because, I mean, that hasn't happened in years.
A long
you
time.
know, they've been saying, oh, Stanford sucks at football. Well, you know, everyone's like, we don't suck anymore. We're amazing now. So it was really exciting to be there that weekend.
And obviously right now your focus is on state and then on the Olympic trials after that and the other things you've got to do to make Beijing.
Right.
But what are your goals beyond that?
Well, I mean, I start college swimming this year, which is going to be another huge step in my career, and I'm hoping one of the best ones I ever have. And I'm really excited to get up to Stanford and start training with the girls and get accustomed to this new chapter of my life. I think it'll be really great.
And how does, if you're able to make the Olympic team, how does that get affected, or how does that affect your college swimming, or does it?
I mean, either way, I'm just going to go try to start fresh when I go into college swimming. God, being on the Olympic team would be a great thing to do before I go off. But, you know, if I don't, I know I'm going to improve in college, and I'll hopefully make it the next time around.
All right, Samantha, we appreciate you joining us. Hope it wasn't too difficult. But we'll see you in a couple weeks at the state swim meet, and hopefully beyond that in a lot bigger stage.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.